boys and girls. I hope you guys remember pizza strategy from when we were learning to write whole numbers in expanded form, because we're going to use it again today to write decimals in expanded form. So just to review, let's review with a whole number. Let's say I have the number 475. I'm going to write that number inside a box. That's my pizza crust. Okay? And if you'll remember, we can write above it the places that each number is in. The 5 is in the ones place. The 7 is in the tens place. And the 4 is in the hundreds place. We're going to start with the hundreds place. We're going to start by bringing down our 4. We count how many places we have after the 4. We have 1, 2, so we put 2 zeros in there. Then we go to our next digit, the tens place, which is the 7. We bring down our 7. We count how many digits to the right. We have 1 digit, and that becomes a 0. Then we go to our last place, and that becomes a 5. And there we have our pizza slice. We got to put a plus sign because in expanded form we're adding. So one way that we could write this number in expanded form is to say 400 plus 70 plus 5. But there was another way that we wrote it out to the side using multiplication in parentheses, and we took our first digit in our number, so I put my 4, and we're going to multiply that by the place that the 4 is in. The 4 is in the hundreds place, so I'm going to write 4 times 100. Then when I get to the 7, I write my 7 times the place that it's in, and if I go up, we can see that it's in the tens place, so 7 times 10. And then we get to the last place, and then we have the 5, which is in the ones place, so we have 5 times 1. And we need our plus sizes out to the side, so another way we could write it is to say 4 times 100 plus 7 times 10 plus 5 times 1. And I can check to make sure I'm correct by, on this part, the pizza part, adding up our digits. 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 7 is 7. 4 plus nothing is 4. So I end up with my same original number that I started with. Down here with our multiplication, we can actually do the multiplication. 4 times 100 is 400. Plus 7 times 10. 7 times 10 is 70. 5 times 1 is 5. So 400 plus 70 plus 5 does equal 475. Now let's try it with a decimal number. So let's say we have 3 and 65 hundredths. Again, I'm going to put my original number in its crust, and we are going to label the places. So I have in the ones place, I have a 3, so I'm just going to write ones. In the tenths place, I have a 6, so I'm going to write tenths, which is a decimal and a 1, so it's in the tenths place. And then in the hundredths place, I have a 5, so I write 0, 1, decimal point 0.01 is the hundredths place. So we're going to start all the way on the left. We're going to bring down our 3. And I have 2 places to the right, which are zeros. So but I have to bring that decimal point down. We cannot leave off the decimal point. If I was to leave out that decimal point, I would have 300, which is not the same as 3. So I bring down my 3, bring down my decimal point, and I have 2 places that are equal to, that we change to zeros. Then I'm going to bring down my next number, which is a 6. I have 1 digit to the right of the 6, and that changes to a 0. But again, we have to bring down that decimal point. So that 6 is worth 6 tenths, or 60 hundredths. And then we go to the last place, which is our 5, and we bring down our 5. We're also going to bring down our decimal point. But here where it might get a little tricky, because we're usually adding zeros to the right of a digit. But just like when we're doing the decimal rainbow, we know that if we have a digit in the hundredths place, we have to have something in the tenths place, so I have to put a 0 as a placeholder. So my pizza is going to look like this. I can check myself by adding it up. 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus nothing is 3, and we have to bring down our decimal point and this does equal our original number. So the decimal point is uber important. You cannot leave that decimal point off. So just like we did before, we're going to do the multiplication out to the side. So I'm going to take my whole number here, or my digit, which is a 3, multiply by the place it's in. The 3 is in the ones place, so I have 3 times 1. Then I'm going to come down here to my next digit, which is a 6, and I have a 6 that is in the tenths place, so I'm going to multiply it by 1/10. Do not leave out that decimal point, it's really important. 6 times 10th, 1/10. And then I have a 5 in the hundredths place, so I'm going to write 5 times 100th. And again, you have to have that decimal point and the 0 in there. And we put our plus signs, and they are equal. So we would write it out as 3 times 1 plus 6 times 1/10 plus 5 times 100. And that would equal 3 65 hundredths. Let's try one more. Let's do a slightly bigger number. Let's do 47 and 17 hundredths. First, we put it in our crust so that we make sure that our number that we're starting with stays separate. Let's label our places. My 4 is in the tens place. My 7 is in the ones place. My 1 is in the tenths place. And my 7 is in the hundredths place. If you don't remember your places, you can always draw your rainbow to make sure that you get your tenths and your hundredths in the right place. So we're going to start with our 4. We bring it down. I have 3 places to the right, so I'm going to put 3 zeros, and I have to drop down my decimal point right below it so that it's in the same place. Bring down my 7, bring down my decimal point, and I have 2 places to the right, and those change to zeros. And I'm going to bring down my decimal point again. Every time we have to bring down that decimal point, bring down our 1, and we have 1 place to the right, so that would be a 0. And then we bring down our last 7, and here's that tricky part again. We have to bring down the decimal. Because my 7 is in the hundredths place, I have to put that 0 in there. If I don't put that 0 in there, then I'm saying that is 7/10, and that is not correct. Draw my pizza crust and a plus sign, so I could write it all out horizontally too, and we could add it to check. Now, if we're going to do the multiplication part to the side, put my equal signs. 40 is equal to 4 times the place that it's in, and the 4, if I look all the way above it, I can see that it's in the tens place, so I have 4 times 10 plus, I have a 7, and my 7, when I look straight above it, I can see is in the ones place, so I have 7 times 1 plus, I go to the next number, I have a 1 in the tenths place, so it's 1 times 1/10 plus, I have a 7 times, the 7 is in the hundredths place, so I have 7 times 100th, and when I write it out horizontally, it would be 4 times 10 plus 7 times 1 plus 1 times 1/10. That decimal point didn't show up very well. Plus 7 times 100. And I could check by multiplying. 4 times 10 is 40. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 1/10 is just 1/10, and 7 times 100 is just 700ths. Add them up, and I would get my original number of 47 and 1700ths. I hope that helps. Use this to do your homework if you get stuck, and let me know if you have any questions.